What's up, guys? It's Oblivious Gamer here. And well, today there is some stuff I actually wanted to talk about, especially is regarding some news. Specifically, it's about Dungeon Fighter Online. So, just to get the premise, they announced a new project with relation to Dungeon Fighter or the Dungeon Fighter universe. And of course, there is a part of me that when I saw the announcement, I'm excited for it because I'm interested in the Dungeon Fighter franchise. But there's also a bit of concern and a bit of what is going on here from my side at least. So let me explain myself a bit. As I said, they announced a new project which is called Project DW, which is gonna be a Dungeon and Fighter open world action RPG for consoles, PC, and mobile. No release date, no footage, nothing. They just said we are working on another project. I guess most people would be excited, and I am, but I am questioning a lot of stuff, and let me go into detail. So, for me at least, I'm not a huge Dungeon Fighter Online player. I played it a bit. It was fun, but it wasn't a game that was gonna entertain me for a while. Like, I thought it was okay. What I did like a lot was the character designs and how they looked, how they worked. I thought that was really cool. One of my favorite character designs is Spectre, which I think she's a recent one that was introduced. But I really liked it. And then I also come from playing DNF Duel, which is a fighting game I really like. I like the design of the characters, and I like a lot what universe they're in. I couldn't get into Dungeon Fighter Online, but they had other projects in the work that, of course, I was excited for and interested. One of them being Project BBQ. Project BBQ was announced a while ago, and this was supposed to be like an MMORPG, and it was supposed to take place in the Dungeon Fighter universe. It looked really cool. There's some footage of some of the fights, and I was excited for this title because I thought, okay, this is a title that could get me into it, and I would see myself playing it. The problem is the title was cancelled. It was announced I think 2022. It was announced that the project was cancelled. So they were not working on an MMORPG. Instead, the project was reworked, renamed into Project AK, which is supposed to be a Souls-like action RPG that's only gonna come to consoles. And Project AK, recently we got a small trailer, and apparently the name is gonna be Arad Chronicle Kazan, which it experienced the tale of Kazan and Osma. And this is a Souls-like action RPG.
자네의 선택을 기다리네. 함께하지 않겠는가, 가장.
And there was a trailer. It's mostly footage. It looks interesting. I'm not one to complain too much because I still think Project AK or Arad Chronicle Kazan looks interesting, and it's a game that I also see myself playing. But a part of me was disappointed that we weren't gonna get that MMORPG, especially after seeing some of the footage. And I was interested in it. I have to say, I probably would have wanted that more. So, okay. However, we don't have a date on when we're gonna see Arad Chronicle Kazan. We have no idea when it's gonna come out. Later on, if I'm not mistaken, 2021 also announced that they're making Project Overkill, at least from what I can find. And Project Overkill is coming to mobile devices, and it seems to be like a 3D version, if I would try to compare it to Dungeon Fighter Online. So it looks side-scroller beat 'em up style, but it's 3D character models. I remember when this was shown, a lot of people were wondering if this was supposed to replace Dungeon Fighter Online because of the similarities, but it doesn't seem that way. It seems like it's gonna be in tandem with Dungeon Fighter Online. We will have to see. But again, this game also doesn't have a specific release date. So already 2 projects that don't have a specific release date, so they have 2 things that they're working on. And now they announce another project, which we also haven't seen much, don't know much. I feel, from my point of view, obviously I'm not a developer, I don't know what is going on behind Nexon, but it seems they're trying to pick up a lot of projects, and I at least don't think that's a good thing, or at least announce these projects very early on where we don't see much. I know Project Overkill has a couple of trailers that showcase a lot of stuff, but as I said, we had Project BBQ, which was being worked, that was thrown into the garbage. Then we got Project AK, which we only have some cinematic footage, and then now we have this Project DW, which is just an announcement. I feel it's too much for them. Like, I don't know, if we would have had it, for example, they would have said, okay, Project Overkill is coming out this specific date, 2023, and then Arad Kazan is coming out 2024. If we would have gotten like a roadmap, I would have been more comfortable, and I'll be like, oh, okay, we could probably expect this game maybe 2025 or sometime later after they're done with Arad Chronicle Kazan. But we don't know, no release dates, and yes, like, take your time with making games, that's an obvious. But I personally, I'm not a huge fan of developers or publishers announcing a game and we don't see any. Like, I personally prefer when developers or publishers announce a game and they actually have something substantial to show. And I'm not too much of like, oh, let's just announce this and get people hyped. I don't know if they're doing it because, like, for example, I know companies here in the US, they like announcing, even if there's no trailer, they like announcing projects because investors are happy like that and stocks go up. So I don't know if Nexon is also working in that way where like their stocks and like they have to please their investors, so they just keep announcing stuff to make them happy. I have no idea. At the same time, I look at what Project DW is, right? And in all honesty, looking at Project BBQ from the trailers, Project BBQ seemed like it was like an action RPG. Yes, it was an MMO, but I don't know, I feel like they could have just retooled Project BBQ and just be like, hey guys, we're not gonna do an MMO, that's a bit complicated, so we're just gonna do a open world action game RPG. We might do co-op and that's it. And I think a lot of people would be fine with it. It feels like with Project DW, at least with the state, they're just like, oh, we still have this thing that we throw in the trash. We can probably grab some of the stuff there. I mean, this Project DW could be completely different. But I just look at what Project BBQ is and what we saw, and I'm like, well, this could have been an open world action RPG if you remove the MMO aspects of it. So it's complicated. Like, I'm hype, excited, I want to get into these new games, I want to see these new games come out, but I'm also concerned when companies just announce a bunch of projects and a lot of these projects end up being in limbo. Like, no specific dates, no specific platforms. And that is my biggest concern with these types of projects. So as I mentioned, if there was a roadmap and they were like, we have these tentative dates, at least for example, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, which has been a mess for development, they have been showcasing stuff and at least they try to be like, hey, we're gonna try to release it during this date. And even though they have been delaying the game a bunch of times, at least we have an idea and we have seen a lot. But I don't know, guys, I'm just struggling with the way Nexon is approaching this. Like, I don't know, maybe for me, I would have been like, once they released Project Overkill, or once they were close to releasing Project Overkill, maybe I would have announced Project DW, and I would have thrown in some like gameplay footage or something just to get people interested in. But that's me, and I'm not a developer, publisher. That's just my way of viewing it. Maybe I'm doing it wrong, who knows? But overall, I am just not understanding what we're doing this. I don't have any idea when we're gonna see any of these games or if we will see any of these games. So I am extremely curious. What are your thoughts? Like, despite the excitement, let's throw out the hype and excitement, because I know most of you guys are going to be excited for these types of projects like me. But what are your thoughts when it comes to Nexon just announcing 3 projects? There's 3 Dungeon and Fighter projects that we don't have specific release dates. We have one that we have seen footage, we have another one that's just cinematic, and then of course this new one that's just been announced recently. Do you think they're doing too much, or do you think, nah, it's fine, they'll work on it eventually? As always, this has been Oblivious Gamer, and I hope you'll have a wonderful day or night. wherever you are.